Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the alternation of the night and the day, and the stars in which they sail, by what benefits people, and what God sends down from the sky of water, and with it he revives the earth after its death, and scatters from every creeping thing, and the movement of the wind, and the clouds that are made subservient between the sky and the earth, for the sake of your people. Yaqilun, Al-Baqarah, 164. It is in the creation of the heavens with their height and breadth, and the earth with its mountains, plains, and seas, and in the alternation of night and day in length and shortness, and darkness and light, and their succession with each succeeding the other, and in the ships running in the seas, which carry what is beneficial to people, and in the rainwater that God sends down from the sky. And he revived the earth with it, and it became green and delightful after it had been dry and without plants, and what God has spread in it of everything that moves on the face of the earth, and what he has bestowed upon you of stirring and directing the winds, and the clouds moving between the sky and the earth. Indeed, in all the previous signs there are signs, on the oneness of God and the majesty of his blessings, for people who understand the points of evidence and understand his evidence. Glory be to him of his oneness and his alone deserving of worship. And among the people are those who take other than God as rivals, whom they love as they love God, and those who believe in me have a stronger love for God. And if only those who wronged you would see, when they see the torment, that all power belongs to God, and that God is severe in torment. Al-Baqarah 1:65. Despite these conclusive proofs, a group of people take idols, fetishes, and saints other than God, making them equals to God Almighty, and granting them love, glorification, and obedience that are only befitting of God alone. The believers have a greater love for God than the love of these infidels for God and their gods, because the believers are sincere in their love for God and those who share in love. If those who wronged themselves through polytheism in this world's life knew, when they saw the torment of the hereafter, that God is the only one with all power, and that God is severe in torment, they would not have taken gods other than God to worship besides him, and to draw closer to him through them. When those who followed you disavowed you from those who followed you, and they saw the torment, and you were torn to pieces with them. Al-Baqarah 166. When they witnessed the torment of the hereafter, the leaders they followed disavow those who followed them in polytheism, and all ties that were connected to them in this world are severed between them. Kinship, following, religion, and other things. And those who followed you said, if only we had a chance, then we would disavow them, just as they disavowed us. Thus God will show them to you. O God, I'm sorry for them, and they will not come out of the fire. Al-Baqarah 167. The followers said, I wish we could return to this world and declare our innocence of these leaders, just as they declared their innocence of us, just as God showed them the severity of his torment on the day of resurrection. He will show them their false deeds as regrets for them, and they will never emerge from the fire. O people, eat of what is on earth lawful and good, and do not follow the footsteps of Satan. He is a clear enemy to you. Al-Baqarah 168. O people, eat from God's provision which he has made permissible for you on earth, which is pure, not impure, beneficial and harmless, and do not follow the ways of Satan in permissibility and prohibition, and heresies and sins. He is an apparent enemy of yours. He only commands you to do evil and shameful things, and that you should say about Allah what you do not know. Al-Baqarah 169. Satan only commands you with every heinous sin that will harm you, and with every disobedience that is extremely ugly, and to invent lies against God regarding the prohibition of what is permissible and other things without knowledge. And when it is said to them, follow what God has revealed, they say, rather, we follow what our forefathers taught us. They cannot understand anything, nor will they be guided. Al-Baqarah 170. And when the believers say, advising the misguided people, follow what God has revealed of the Qur'an and the guidance, they insist on imitating their polytheist ancestors, saying, we do not follow your religion, but rather we follow what we found our fathers following. Do they follow their fathers even if they do not understand anything about God and do not attain guidance? And the example of those who disbelieve is that of someone who shouts at someone who hears nothing except a supplication and a call, deaf, dumb, blind in it. Why do they not understand? Al-Baqarah 171. The description of those who disbelieve and those who call them to guidance and faith is like the description of a shepherd who shouts at the animals and rebukes them, and they do not understand the meanings of his words, but only hear the call and the boom of the voice. These infidels are deaf and have blocked their ears from the truth, mute their tongues from speaking it, blind and their eyes cannot see its dazzling proofs, so they do not use their minds to do what benefits them. They are those who have believed. Eat of the good things we have provided for you, and give thanks to Allah if it is Him that you worship. Al-Baqarah 172. O believers, eat of the delicious and lawful foods that we have provided for you, and do not be like the disbelievers who forbid the good things and make lawful the evil things, and give thanks to God for His great blessings upon you with your hearts, tongues, and limbs, if you are truly submissive to His command, listening and obedient to Him, and worshipping Him alone with no partner. He has only forbidden to you dead meat and blood and the flesh of swine, and that which has been dedicated to anyone other than God. So whoever is distressed cannot do wrong. And he did not return, so there is no sin upon him. Indeed, God is forgiving, most merciful. Al-Baqarah 173. God has only forbidden to you what will harm you, such as dead animals that were not slaughtered in a legal manner, spilled blood, pork, and sacrifices that were slaughtered for other than God. By God's grace and facilitation upon you, He has permitted you to eat these forbidden things when necessary. Whoever is forced by necessity to eat any of it, and is not unjust in eating it beyond his need, nor is he transgressing the limits of God in what has been permitted for him, then he is not guilty of that. God is forgiving to His servants, merciful to them. Indeed, those who conceal what Allah has revealed of the book and exchange it for a small price, or what you have, there is nothing in their bellies except fire, but Allah will not speak to them of the day of resurrection, nor will He purify them, and for them is a painful punishment. Al-Baqarah 174. Those who conceal what God has revealed in His books regarding the description of Muhammad, peace and blessings of God be upon him, and other truths, and are keen to take a small reward from the benefits of this worldly life in exchange for this concealment, these people eat in return for concealing the truth nothing but the fire of hell burning in their bellies, and God will not speak to them on the day of resurrection due to His wrath. And His wrath is upon them, and He does not purify them from the filth of their sins and disbelief, and they will have a painful torment. Or are they those who exchanged error for guidance, and punishment for forgiveness? But none of them were patient with God. To me is the fire. Al-Baqarah 175. Those who are characterized by these qualities exchanged misguidance for guidance and God's punishment for His forgiveness. So how great is their audacity against hell by doing the deeds of the people of hell? God marvels at their undertaking this, so marvel, O people, at their boldness and their patience with the fire and their abiding in it. This is a way of belittling them and belittling their cause. This is for you because God sent down the book with the truth, and indeed those who differed from you concerning the book were in complete disunity. Wa'id, Al-Baqarah 176. That is the torment they deserved because God Almighty sent down His books to His messengers containing the clear truth, so they disbelieved in it. Indeed, those who disagreed about the book and believed in part of it and disbelieved in part of it are in a dispute and a contradiction far from guidance and correctness. Righteousness is not that you turn your faces towards the east and the west, but righteousness is he who believes in God and God. From the hereafter, and the angels and the scriptures and the prophets, and wealth has been given to the near and dear ones for their love. He seeks orphans and the needy and the wayfarer and the beggars and for the freeing of slaves, and establishes prayer and pays zakat, and they are faithful to their covenant when they make a covenant with you, and are patient in times of misfortune and adversity, and during times of misfortune, like those who speak the truth, and your descendants are the righteous. Al-Baqarah 177. Goodness in the sight of God Almighty is not in turning in prayer to the direction of the east and west if it is not based on God's command and law. Rather, all goodness is the faith of the one who believes in God and believes in Him, who is worshipped alone with no partner, and who believes in the day of resurrection and recompense, and in all the angels, and in the revealed books. All of them, and all the prophets without distinction, and He gave money voluntarily, despite the intensity of His love, to relatives, needy orphans whose parents died while they were not yet of age, the poor who did not have enough to satisfy their needs, needy travelers who were far from their families and money, and beggars who were forced to asking due to their severe need, spending on freeing slaves and captives, performing prayers, paying the obligatory zakat, those who fulfill their covenants, and those who are patient in times of poverty and illness, and during the severity of the fighting. Those who are characterized by these qualities are those who are sincere in their faith, and those are those who fear God's punishment and avoid His sins. O you who have believed, retaliation is decreed upon you for those who are killed, the free for the free, and the slave for the free, slave and the female for the female, so whoever is pardoned from his brother in any way, then follow him with kindness and return to him with kindness. Do good. This is for you a relief from your Lord and a mercy, so whoever transgresses after that will have a painful punishment. Al-Baqarah 178. O you who have believed God and His messenger and acted according to His law, God has made it obligatory upon you to retaliate against the murderer intentionally by killing him, on the condition of equality and similarity. The free man shall be killed in the same way, whether the man is killed for the woman or the woman is for the man. The slave is killed in the same way, and the female is killed in the same way. Whoever is forgiven by the guardian of the murdered person by pardoning him from retaliation and merely taking the blood money, which is a specific amount of money paid by the offender in exchange for his pardon, then both parties must adhere to good conduct, so the guardian demands the blood money without violence, and the killer pays his due to him benevolently, without delay or omission. That pardon, along with taking the blood money, is an alleviation from your Lord and a mercy for you, because of its ease and benefit. Whoever kills the killer after pardoning him and taking the blood money will have a painful punishment by killing him as retaliation in this world, or by fire in the hereafter. And for you in retaliation is life or the heart, that you may become righteous. Al-Baqarah 179. You have a safe life in legislating and implementing retaliation, O people of sound minds. Hope to fear God and fear Him by always obeying Him. It is decreed for you that when death approaches one of you, if he leaves behind any wealth, to make a bequest to him, to his religion, and to those closest to him. What is good is a right upon the righteous. Al-Baqarah 180. God has imposed on you, if any of you are present with signs of death and its advances, if he leaves behind money, to bequeath a portion of his money to his parents and relatives, taking into account justice. The poor should not be left behind and bequeathed to the rich, and it should not exceed a third. This is an established right that pious people who fear God should practice. This was before the revelation of the inheritance verses in which God determined the share of each heir. So whoever changes it after he has heard it, then the sin of it increases on those who change it. Indeed, Allah is all-hearing, all-knowing. Al-Baqarah 181. Whoever changes the will of the dead person after hearing it from him before his death, the blame is on the one who changes and alters. God is hearer of your commandments and your words. He is aware of what your breasts conceal, whether inclination toward truth and justice or injustice and unfairness, and He will reward you for that. So whoever fears transgression or wrongdoing from a traitor and makes peace between them, there is no sin on him. Indeed, God is forgiving, most merciful. Al-Baqarah 182. If someone learns that a testator has deviated from the right in his will by mistake or intentionally, he advises the testator at the time of the will on what is fairest. If that does not happen to him, then reconcile the parties by changing the will. In order to comply with Sharia law, he is not guilty of this reform. God is forgiving to his servants, merciful to them. O you who have believed, decreed upon you is fasting as it was decreed upon those before you, that you may become righteous. Al-Baqarah, 183. O you who have believed God and his messenger and acted according to his law, God has imposed upon you fasting, just as he imposed it on the nations before you. Perhaps you will fear your Lord, so you will protect yourself from sin by obeying him and worshiping him alone. A number of days numbered. Then whoever of you is sick or on a journey, then a number of other days, and upon those who are able. It is a ransom to feed the needy. So whoever volunteers a good deed, it is better for him. And if you fast, it is better for you if you are of God. Lamun, Al-Baqarah 184. God has imposed on you fasting days of a known number, which are the days of the month of Ramadan. Whoever among you is sick and it is difficult for him to fast or is traveling, may break his fast, and he must fast a number of other days equal to the one on which he broke his fast. Those who are burdened with fasting and find unbearable hardship, such as the elderly person and the sick person with no hope of recovery, must pay a ransom for each day he breaks his fast, which is food for a needy person who does not have enough to satisfy his need. Whoever increases the amount of the ransom as a donation from him, it is better for him. And your fasting is better for you than giving ransom, if you know the great virtue of fasting before God Almighty. The month of Ramadan in which was revealed the Qur'an, a guidance for the people and clear proofs of the guidance and the criterion. So whoever bears witness among you is the month. Let him fast it, and whoever is sick or on a journey, let him fast a number of other days. God desires ease for you, and he desires for you hardship, and that you may complete the number, and that you may magnify Allah for what he has guided you, and that you may be grateful. Al-Baqarah 185. The month of Ramadan in which God began revealing the Qur'an on the night of decree. Guiding people to the truth, it contains the clearest evidence of God's guidance and the difference between truth and falsehood. Whoever of you attends the month and is healthy and resident, let him fast during the day. The patient and the traveler are given permission to break the fast, and then they spend the number of those days. God Almighty wants ease and comfort for you in his laws, and he does not want hardship for you. And for you to complete the fasting period for a month, and to conclude the fast by glorifying God on Eid al-Fitr, and to glorify him for his guidance of you, and so that you may give thanks to him for the guidance, success, and facilitation he has bestowed upon you. And when my servants ask you about me, then I am near you. I answer the call of the supplicant when he calls upon me, so let them respond to me, and let those who believe in me, that they may guide us. Al-Baqarah 186. And if my servants ask you, O Prophet, about me, say to them, I am close to them. I answer the call of the supplicant when he calls upon me. So let them obey me in what I commanded them and forbade them and believe in me, so that they may be guided to the interests of their religion and their world. In this verse, God Almighty informs us of his closeness to his servants, a closeness befitting his majesty.